So we're back with another book, with another reflection.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to this one. I think this is like one of the best-selling, books of all time, at least in recent memory. So I'm sure a lot of the readers out there will have read this one. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. And this has just been an atomic success, if you will. I feel like you read this one. I can't remember if you did or not.
I did not. It's in my library, but I haven't got around to it. There's just too many good books that's piling up in my anti-library, and I'm trying to make good use of my the Audible that's on sale. So I've been buying these.
Well, no harm at all in that. Honestly, the book's about habits, and I know that you have really strong habits and you know how to build and make and break habits yourself. Actually, that was one of the things that started off this reflection. I'll go ahead and share my screen. The reflection title is "You got to make it an identity. Every new habit begins with believing." So what that meant for me, this is an important thing. And it was one of those aha moments that I had when I read this book. As you know, I'm pretty good at starting and breaking habits. You and I have met for almost 2 years straight, every single night for the most part, minus a few vacations here or there, or some other emergency that's come up. But come snow, rain, sunshine, whatever's going on, you and I have found a way to meet. I write every morning, I read every morning, I exercise every morning, I play tennis all the time, regularly. You and I meet every single night. There's a lot of habitual things that I've built into my life, and it was powered by Amelia and that whole entire atomic blast that I guess went off in my own life, and me searching for a way to live my values every single day in her honor, which is really what drives those habits for me. Mm-hmm. However, I saw this book was like a huge successful bestseller, and I was like, look, I may know how to make and break habits now pretty well. So that's what this whole journey is about. It's a year of magical learning. So I picked up this book, and honestly, I have to hand it to James Clear. I get why this book is so popular. He probably wrote the best practical how-to guide that I've ever read. It was just super clear and concise, actionable, made sense. Like, it was one of those perfect length books where it wasn't too long, got to the point, told you how to make and break habits, told you how the power of habits are built. It's very practical, right? It's not philosophical about the power of habits necessarily. It's literally just how to make and break a habit. And it's pretty spot on.
He knows how to live up to his name.
Yes,
exactly.
It's very clear. The funny thing is I actually happened to be reading this book when I started writing my own book for Amelia, for my daughter, called I Can't Imagine. I'd been on my quest to find purpose again in my life and understand what the hell just happened to my family. Mm-hmm. And we had finished the journaling for Amelia, and I was ready to start to write her book. It was something I was really, really passionate about, motivated about. But, the truth was I had no idea how to write a book. Like I'm the words Chris Sears, an author or book writer, like those didn't go together before I met my daughter. It wasn't who I was. That was not my identity. And it was probably one of the furthest things in my own mind of something that I ever thought that I would ever do. Probably close to Chris Sears climbing Mount Everest or something like that. Chris Sears writing a book, like that just never wildest dreams kind of thing, or I had a story, what is a story? Somebody has a story to tell, and I definitely had a story to tell. And I had to tell the story for my daughter. So I happen to be reading this book around that time. And as you know, I do like these 30-day challenges every single month where I pick like a new challenge and try to challenge myself to do it. This month I'm on no caffeine, and it's been pretty awful to be honest with you. I've done this now for the past couple of years, and it's always fun. Well, this particular month, knowing that I wanted to start writing the book, my challenge to myself was after I got done with my normal writing in the morning, I wanted to dedicate at least a minimum of 30 minutes before work to start working on the book every single day. And that first month, I failed miserably. I think I wrote like 5 or 6 days out of the entire month for Amelia's book in particular. I had an outline, I had a plan. I knew the story that I had in my head that I wanted it to come out, but I didn't believe that I could actually do this. One of the big ahas that I got out of it from James Clear was, if you really want to make a habit stick, you got to believe that is who you are. Like, i.e., if you're going to climb Mount Everest, you are somebody that climbs Mount Everest. Like right now in your head, think about everything that somebody that climbs Mount Everest would do. What's their diet? What do they train? How do they live? Like, what's the, that's you. Like, you are somebody that climbs Mount Everest. Like, if you want to go be a professional pickleball player, you are a pickleball player. I joke around a lot of times I play tennis. Every single time that I go and play pickleball, I always, and it's like, I don't even know if I subconsciously just do it, but I always tell whoever my partner is, if I'm playing doubles or whoever I'm playing singles against, I'm a tennis player that's just playing pickleball today. I almost instinctually say that because I just want them to know, like, I am not a pickleball player. I'm a tennis player. Like, that's what I do. But the funny thing is, every time I kept saying that, I kept going, why can't I be a pickleball player? And the truth is, I just don't want to commit my identity to saying that I'm a pickleball player. So it was a similar situation here with, like, I didn't know if I believed in myself enough that I was going to be able to write this story.
Mm-hmm.
However, it wasn't about me. It was about my daughter. So I committed to the fact that I'm a writer. I'm going to write her story. I have a story to tell and I have to do this for her. So I sat down, I wrote every single day, and 8 months later, the manuscript is complete, 400-page book, that I was able to tell my daughter's story and share with the world. That was my big lesson, I would say, in reflection from Atomic Habits was, if you want to start a new habit, you got to believe and make it an identity. And that's where it really starts for me. Like, obviously the why, purpose, all those things are foundational level. If you want to start a brand new habit, you have to take ownership of, like, this is me. This is a part of me if you want it to stick. So yeah, turn it over to you. What are your thoughts?
Yes. So for me, I have not read this book, but I can understand and I can really agree with what you said in terms of try to immerse yourself in that role, whatever that role is. If you want to be a writer, then you say, well, I'm a writer. Because the moment you give yourself a way out, a scapegoat,
Right, quit.
your subconscious somehow will take that action.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did not read this book and I didn't know this was the reason why a lot of people are able to create new habits and break habits. But my caffeine quitting stories is pretty much exactly what this is. It's because one day I say, well, I'm not a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
I decide I'm not a coffee. After 40 plus years of drinking coffee, I mean, I drink coffee at an early age because my dad is a coffee drinker. Coffee is in my vein. And I drink to the point where I drink only coffee, no water. Even though there's obviously water in coffee, but essentially I would drink 6 to 8 cups of this coffee a day, every day, including Sunday. And for me to quit isn't the easiest thing.
Right.
Caffeine has the addiction. I did try to quit when I was in my early 20s. It didn't work. I went suffer for a month. I did quit and then I came back to it. But after reading the book, While We Sleep, I decided that I'm not a coffee drinker anymore. And that was it, like cold turkey. And I never think about it again. If you assume the identity of a non-coffee drinker, then it's like everything seems like, okay, if I'm not a coffee drinker, I don't think about coffee. I don't crave coffee. I don't remember coffee. I don't miss coffee. And so I think, this is really good just because, it confirms that this techniques actually works.
Yeah.
Right. Even that for me, not reading the book and I've done something by accident, but it confirms that technique. And so I think, immerse yourself in that identity that you want to become, you shall get it. Because if you don't leave your subconscious a way out, the only way to go is forward. And so I think that's going to be the most impactful and effective way to form new habits or break habits. In my case, break away from the caffeine.
Right. Yeah. But until you believe that you want to do it, it doesn't.
Actual element that cannot be omitted.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to start from there because, as I do these 30-day challenges all the time, like I know kind of when I start out, whether or not I'm really going to stick with it afterwards or not. The Year of Magical Learning was one of these journeys that this was like,
because
seven months ago.
Something that I'm just going to do.
Exactly. I was like, this is me. This is what I want to do. It wasn't hard. I didn't miss a day. As a matter of fact, it was the easiest challenge that I've done in all of the challenges. I tried to be bored for 10 minutes every single day. Like, that's not me. And I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be the guy that just is like bored. I knew going into it, I was going to fail. And I knew that I wasn't going to make that a part of my identity. I can kind of sense it now. Whenever I set these challenges, I'm just waiting for the month to end.
You probably knew ahead of time whether you make it or not. Because if you have to say, I'm going to try this. Well, it's not going to last because you're waiting for the day when it stops.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just literally waiting for the day. Like when I give up no chips, and I love chips. Like chips are my identity when it comes to snack food, right? I literally was waiting for the absolute minute the clock turned over, the 30 days where I was like, thank God, give me some chips. I ran to the store and I got chips and I was like, chip. I am a chip guy. That's my identity. I'm going to always have a habit of eating really delicious tortilla chips.
Until you take on another persona, it's not going to go away.
Right.
I love the aroma. I love the taste. I drink it black. That's how much I love coffee. I drink it jet black.
You gotta like it a lot.
And a lot of times when I make the coffee that I usually drink, it's basically like the Vietnamese coffee. So in Asia or in French, like they do the espresso, right? So they don't actually filter out the caffeine. In most American coffee bag, they filter out some of the caffeines already. They wash it out. So there's less caffeine content. So when I make coffee in using the American machine, I will put double. I would double. So I would 2 bags of one instead of once.
That's
And I
nuts.
love coffee, but for me to, so I'm trying to say that I'm really addicted to this thing, but
Yeah.
I was able to quit cold turkey without even thinking about it. Right.
Yep.
That's is what I did is I told myself that I am not a coffee drinker anymore. And I don't drink it. I tell people I don't drink coffee anymore. That was history.
My challenge this month is no caffeine. Actually, the book that I'm reading right now is the book Caffeine by Michael Pollan. It's about the history of caffeine in our culture and stuff like
Right.
that. So I was just listening to that right before you and I hopped onto this conversation. Like, I don't love coffee. I don't love tea or anything like that. I enjoy it. I don't mind having it in the morning kind of thing. I like a warm beverage in the morning. I'm actually kind of on the fence of whether or not my identity is a caffeine or not right now. So we'll see how it goes.
If you want it and you can immerse yourself, then you can do it. Like I said, I tried before, it didn't work because I wasn't ready to give it up. And to kind of relate to the question that you asked, what limiting belief you are holding back from your desire to new habits. So you make an excuse for yourself and other people that, hey, I'm a tennis player that happens to play pickleball. Because you give yourself that. So you're
not all in.
Taking in, exactly. You're not all into it. You didn't burn the ship.
Right.
So if you decide to do that, you have to go forward with that identity. If you don't, basically taking a break, it's not habit. It's not a habit, because habit is something that you do without thinking.
I agree.
Right? You have to do. You have to do. So you have to believe and immerse yourself in it. Beyond just having the awesome power of this technique itself, the limiting belief that you're holding back, that's also, to me, is also another element that we have to consider as well. Because, for example, let's say I'm a non-native speaker. If I tell myself that because I'm a non-native speaker, I could not be eloquent. If I believe in that, then that's the limiting belief that will never get me to the point where I become a good speaker.
Yeah.
Or if I say I'm an introvert and I believe in it, then I will never be able to have podcasts and do whatever. To me, if you take on the traditions of whatever people tell you and not leave it behind, that belief becomes your constraint that limits you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an amazing point. The whole Hogwartsing of the world, where we lump people into these categories of you're a Slytherin and this is what a Slytherin does and who the Slytherin is. And you're like, well, but I want to be a Gryffindor or something like that. The fact that we just always categorize ourselves and dump. This is you. Like, you are a programmer that is an introvert that doesn't like to do XYZ, that drinks a lot of caffeine and, that's you. And that's always going to be you.
Yes.
I can't go code. I can't go be a mathematician or something like that. I actually remember one of my buddies that I play tennis with. He's a world-renowned mathematician. He's been a professor at Princeton, at University of Michigan, where he's at right now. He travels the world to do lectures and stuff like that. I mean, he is literally a Sheldon Cooper, from the Big Bang Theory of math. And he and I, after we were playing one day, I was telling him how bad I've always been at math my whole life. And he was like, Chris, he's like, I know you well enough to know that you love problem solving and you love solutioning. He's like, that's math. And I'm like, that's not math. Math is memorizing a bunch of problems and equations and, whatever. And he was like, no, that's what they teach you in school. He was like, math is, being super creative and seeing things that aren't there and trying to figure out how to solve a puzzle, and I'm like, maybe I could have been good at math, but my whole life I always said I'm awful at math. And I've just always believed that. That's, I've never tried to be better at math, because I just was like, yeah, well, not good at that,
Yes. Lessons learned is we need to be aware of these limiting beliefs that we've been conditioned to hold back, because you told yourself that you're never going to be a math guy, right? Yeah. And because of that, you won't ever going to believe yourself to be a math guy. And that is going to be the only reason that they're going to hold you back. And so the lesson is take that down. Break down that wall, break down the limiting belief. If you want to be something, and if you want to drink coffee and caffeine, that's fine. The reason you don't want to is because you don't want to, not because you couldn't. Right. So if you have something you want, don't think of the word couldn't be the reason why you don't believe in. Yeah. Then believe to be a billionaire, then you will be a billionaire. Because if you say, well, I'm not that smart or I'm not that well connected, then you won't, because you don't immerse yourself and take on the identity of being that person.
Yeah.
Coder, a programmer, an astronaut, a policeman, whatever it is you want. If you believe in it, you're going to find ways to do it. And if you hold the limitations of it, then you won't. To me, that's the caution I want to bring out and kind of make people aware of that.
I couldn't agree more. And this is the fun of your magical learning, because the compound effect of all these different books, right? Like as we're talking about this, I'm thinking back through a few books that we did was Thoughts Become Things, Infinite Possibilities, right?
Right.
If you think you can actually do it, you got to believe you can do it. And if you want it to become an actual thing, then it goes back to Give and Take, the one that we talked about before of, not just yourself believing in what you can do, but if other people believe that, like, Chris, you could be a mathematician. This the mathematician said, Chris, you could be good at math. And I'm going to go, oh shit. Somebody else believes I can be good at math. And then if I believe that I can be good at math, then it's that extra little push from somebody else, giving that belief as well to somebody saying, hey, true, you can be a gregarious, extroverted podcast that does, they can be a sales guy, they can do all this stuff. And I'm like, I'll teach you what that looks like. Do you want to learn? Like, if you believe that you can do it, I'll help you.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's a foundation that I've learned that I think I'm fortunate to learn before it's too late is I can be anything I want as long as I want it. For example, I told you I don't like to write, right? So if the reason for me not to write because I don't like to write, it's fine. But the reason for me not to write because I don't think I could write, that's a wrong reason.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think you can write?
I think I can write. I just don't want to write.
I'd
rather talk to you about the thoughts and opinion that I have rather than to write down. It's different for different people. But it's not the reason why I don't write is because I don't know how to write. I know I can learn how to write.
Right.
For sure.
Well, so we are getting ready to launch the Magical Learning website where you can do your own magical learning and then we can turn it into a book for you. So maybe you should do your magical learning adventure yourself and start to write your own stuff, and we'll turn it into a book for True's Your Magical Learning. Then we can, turn into a blog, the podcast and
I have a podcast of Year Magical Learning.
Well, we'll do your books when we're done. Like, you get to work on it, man, and we'll write your reflections and we'll flip it around and you can do yours.
We'll see.
Yeah. Awesome. Good conversation. The question for everybody, if you didn't catch that one, is what limiting beliefs are holding you back from your desired new habits? We believe in you. How about that? So if you need some extra encouragement from us, know that we believe that you can do whatever you want to do and thoughts can become things. Let us know how we can help. Yeah. All right. Until tomorrow.
We'll see you next time.
All right.